These are We the People News, Part 2. Alright. This video is without prejudice and without recourse, okay? Not waiving any of my rights. I'm going to go ahead and stand on UCC 1-308. Excuse me. I never just look straight forward. I always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Because until I look it up myself and all that, everything is hearsay. Okay? The whole court system is run by hearsay. So, there has not been an attorney that ever spoke without doing such thing as hearsay. Most attorneys have not seen the actual crime of what happened. Somebody explained it to the attorney. The attorney isn't arguing about it. But in general, the whole court system is running by hearsay. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and finish on. Oh, by the way, this is where the storm clouds are gathering. Okay, check him out.
And better. As it stands right now, I travel a lot. I am in purportedly alleged to be Indiana. I'm on the land of Indiana, all right, which is its own country. It's its own territory. It's its own reservation for the natives. Okay? That's a long story. I'll talk to you guys about it later. I want to point out here, remember the Fourth Amendment Federal Constitution? Well, we find that in the Bill of Rights, Article 1, Section 11 of the Indiana Bill of Rights. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. That is verbatim the federal Constitution. Fourth Amendment. But, in order to give this teeth document, here we go, bink, bink. Let's go back to our document. Forgive me, I've got a lot of them up here. I work on a lot of things. Bink. Let's go here. Fourth Amendment. Invoke the Fourth Amendment. And let's see. As well as Article 1, Section... Oops. Let's go back over here and show you how I do shit. Alright? Typically, you don't have to make these things this long, but I really like to rub their nose in the pile of fecal matter that they got on the fucking floor here. Section 11 of the Bill of Rights with Indiana. Why do I use with instead of for or instead of? Because of means not with, so with Indiana. So, I invoke the Fourth Amendment as well as Article 1, Section 11 of the Bill of Rights with Indiana. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search.
That of is actually a very tricky word, and we've become so numb to the of.
And seizures. Okay, now that's the Fourth Amendment. It's also found in the federal Constitution, all right, as well as Article 1, Section 11 of the Bill of Rights with Indiana. Now let's go back here and get back into the Bill of Rights yet again. All courts, Section 12, all courts shall be open to every man for injury done to him in his person, property, or reputation. So important. Shall have remedy by due course of law. Justice shall be administered. Look, pay attention. Freely be administered. Okay, it should be shall be administered freely, which means at no cost. Okay, when the clerk of the court say, oh, that'll cost you $265, fuck you. I don't have privileges. I have fucking rights. And you can't convert my right into a privilege and issue a fucking fee for it, you moron. So get back in your box before I have to spank you on your ass financially. And without what? Just in case you don't understand what I'm saying, without purchase, justice cannot be bought. All right? And remember, justice delayed is justice denied. Completely, all right, which means due process of law, without any fee, without any purchase, and without denial, because denial of justice is, again, the maximum. To delay justice, justice delayed is justice denied. So if the second the clerk of the court says, well, I'm not doing anything for you, you were denied justice, all right? And what else does it say in Article 1, Section 12 of the Bill of Rights for Indiana? Now, you may find different verbiage in the state of Texas, in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You may find different verbiage in Colorado, Utah, Pennsylvania. You have to go look at these things, all right? But this is what's really going to give your habeas teeth, all right? Speedily and without delay. So I'm going to include Article 1, Section 12 in there, in case they want to tell me, well, it'll be next week before the magistrate gets to see this. Bullshit. You better get on the phone, Shotsky, because you're 100% liable. You carry the primary active degree of fault. Once this paper hits your hands, you better get on the fucking phone. And if you don't do what I'm telling you right now, I'm going to do an electronic surveillance preservation request. And if I find out that you were just walking around in your office with your thumb up your ass and not on the phone with the judge, magistrate, or administrator, getting a hold of somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, guess what? You now become liable for dereliction of duty, breach of trust, breach of oath of office, and you carry the primary active degree of fault, okay? And under the doctrine of office found, you better move your fucking ass. All right? This is why they don't like putting me in jail, because I'm a bossy little son of a bitch. All right? I put up with no fucking shit from anybody for any fucking reason, period. And you should be doing the same, because remember, if you're not a belligerent, you don't have any fucking rights. Only a belligerent is recognized for standing up for their rights. That doesn't mean that I'm an enemy belligerent combatant of the United States, because I am not. I am a preferred stockholder in the United States corporation and its endeavors, and I always want to make sure that the Treasury is never cheated because I'm invested in it. All right? All right. Section 13. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused have the right to a public trial by an impartial jury in the county in which the offense shall have been committed, to be heard by himself and counsel, to demand the nature and cause of the accusations against him. Now, they'll always give you the cause, but they'll never tell you the nature. Do you want to know why? Because the nature of their statutory engagement is admiralty, it's commerce, it's business, it's contractual, and they don't dare tell you that, well, there's a presumed and assumed contract out there civilly that we enforce, and you unfortunately are part of that contract. Why? Because that contract is vague and ambiguous, it's presumed and assumed, and nobody disclosed it to you, which means that that's a denial of due process of law and they have no fucking standing. All right? Which means they don't have the ability to bring claim against you in a civil matter. Now, they will claim that it's criminal in nature, but the fact remains that there are no criminal, when it comes to the statute anyway, absent a victim, there is no crime, so it's not criminal, it's statutory in nature, it's civil, and they're saying that you broke some civil status that has been put in place by a presumed and assumed contract that everybody abides by, okay? So that's why they don't give you the nature. Always demand the nature. They're never going to give it to you, but demand it anyway, because that's your grounds for appeal, and it also strips them of their alleged presumed and assumed jurisdiction, because they have now denied you due process of law by failing to explain the nature. We already know the cause. It's some penal code. Blah, 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 blah. You were in violation of subsection 8 of Chapter 12 of blah, 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 or you did this, or you did that. It's all horse shit. So as soon as you can get that horse shit cleaned out of your ears, you'll be able to hear what I'm telling you, and you'll be able to stand on your own 2 feet. And to have a copy thereof to meet the witnesses face to face. I don't know about you, but when's the last time you met the state of Texas, state of Colorado, state of fucking Indiana, state of anything, all right? The only state you can be in is a state of motherfucking mind. And if you don't get the opportunity to face your witnesses, face to face, all right? The man or woman bringing a claim stating harm, damage, injury, or loss, okay? Then you waive that right. So make that issue. Make the issue every time you get an opportunity to make the issue. Make the fucking issue. And to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor. Men or women who have first-hand knowledge of the facts, all right? All right, and then you got the 14th Amendment, no person shall be twice put in jeopardy. That's not the 14th Amendment, it's Article 1, Section 14 of the Bill of Rights in Indiana. No person arrested or confined in jail shall be treated with unnecessary rigor. Now, this is the 8th Amendment in the federal Constitution. All right, this is also found in Article 1, Section 15 of the Bill of Rights of Indiana. No person arrested or confined in jail shall be treated with unnecessary rigor. This means cruel and unusual punishment, okay? Now, I told you earlier, the federal Constitution versus the state's constitutions may not be verbatim, so you're going to have to go and read this stuff. So what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead and highlight this section, all right, because we're in the state of Indiana. We're going to go ahead and copy it. Oops, I missed the S. Let's do this again. Now, you have to be able to cognitively express this orally, because remember, the law is spoken, right? We want to be thorough. We're going to come back over here, and we're going to find that 8th Amendment that we invoked, right? We invoked the 8th. Oh, I didn't invoke the 8th here. So in that case, we're going to invoke the 8th Amendment. And we're going to stick this in there with the 8th Amendment, all right? Now, this is kind of long and drawn out, but I'm giving you an example of how I do things and why it works, okay? Because now these people are 100% liable. So you're going to invoke the 8th Amendment. Normally I like to do it the 4th, 5th, and 6th, because the 4th leads to the 5th, the 5th leads to the 6th. There's a reason that they're numbered and they're put in that structure, all right? And so we did the 4th Amendment down here. There's the 8th right there. I did have it in there. I was going to say, boy, I was slacking if I didn't. Right here. Invoke the 8th Amendment, the right secured to I, no bail or bond shall be imposed, all right, or cruel and unusual punishment. I didn't finish it all out. As well as, this takes a little bit of applied knowledge and application, ladies and gentlemen. And you can do this too. It's not hard. Now, we want to draw attention to where it's coming from. Article, we don't want to give them any opportunity to presume and assume anything. Article 1, Section 15, with the Indiana Bill of Rights. All right, the Indiana Bill of Rights are guaranteed. Okay, no person arrested or confined in jail shall be treated with unnecessary rigor. All right, and so.
Just remember, when I talked about the Constitution, whether it's state or federal, y'all, the Constitution is a stop sign. Not to trespass upon your inalienable rights. There must be a reason. There must be a victim. There must be some type of broken contract with first-hand knowledge of the contract. Okay? If you're a businessman, you have a contract. So everybody in that business has got to go by that contract. But the state of Texas, where I'm at, a driver's license. But they do not tell you it's a contract. So they misled you. Marriage license, it's misleading. All right, they don't give the full disclosure of the contract.
When we're quoting the 8th Amendment, we go back and we just simply find the 8th Amendment and stick it in there. Why am I showing them the federal Constitution blended with the state? Because I'm telling them, if they violate me at the state level, I'm going to take them into the federal court, okay? And I'm going to hammer them so they have no plausible deniability. Not only did I explain it on the federal level, I explained it on the state level. And you bet your sweet ass that I'm going to take them into the federal level to hang them high and dry financially. All right? Here we go. Remember, the 8th Amendment talks about excessive bail and bond? Well, so does Article 1, Section 16 of the Indiana Bill of fucking Rights. Son of a bitch, right? Trying to help you guys out here. We're also going to include Article 1, Section 16 of the Indiana Bill of Rights in our habeas corpus. Excessive bail and bond shall not be required. Okay? Shall. The word shall means may or may not. It depends whether or not you know your motherfucking rights. Okay? If you don't know your rights, you don't have any. If you don't make issue, you waive the issue. All right? Not be required. Okay, so shall means may or may not. It doesn't say must not be required. It says shall. If the guy is dumb enough to sit there like a bump on a log and slumber on his rights, equity will not aid a volunteer. All right? The excessive fine shall not be imposed, son of a bitch. And when you really understand the banking system, the question is always, what species would you like? I'd be more than happy to tender anything that you need. Just need you to qualify what species. Because per the 10th Amendment, which is federal, now you go have to find it in your state constitution, where it talks about only gold and silver shall be used to tender a payment of a debt. Okay? So as long as they're compliant with that, then we're good. If they can't tell you what species and they're not operating in the Constitution, well, guess what? Everything they're doing is void. Cruel and unusual punishment shall not be inflicted. There you go. There's the 8th Amendment again. So we got Article 1, Section 15 that talks about unnecessary rigor that even bolsters the 8th Amendment federally. And then you also have, just in case that wasn't fucking clear enough, they went ahead and said in the Bill of Rights in Indiana, Article 1, Section 16, and they went ahead verbatim of the 8th Amendment in the federal Constitution. Okay? So, that's how you do that, ladies and gentlemen. It's really not that hard. And when you submit this to them, they must jump and get shit done. Bad thing about amendments and Bill of Rights, the men that signed it are guilty of treason. I don't know how you come up with that. To each his own. That's your belief. I'm going to tell you, I'm getting results, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't conjectural bullshit here. I'm showing you remedy that works time and time again without fucking fail. So, the other thing here is when we're on the commercial side, I want to go ahead and point this out. When they're asking for bail, let's say it's a cash bond. Let's say it's $10,000, and they want $10,000 to release your family member, your friend, your constituent. All right? Ask them for their W-9. And here's why. Because they're asking for some type of financial gain or wherewithal, right? And in doing so, we need to be able to report that to the IRS. Now, when you mention that you need their W-9, they're going to ask you what for, because we're doing business, baby. And everything must be reported to the IRS and the United States Treasury to make sure the American people, who are the preferred stockholders in this land, due to the fact that we lent to them value and consideration. In 1933, when they took the gold and silver, we extended to them our value and consideration for performance. And I'll be damned if we're going to allow them, like tyrants, to loot, plunder, lie, and steal under the guise of justice. So we're going to ask them for their W-9.
And I would go so far as have them fill out if you give the money, also ask for a W-4. Because now you need to know what guidelines they're going to be going by. So you can have the IRS check out and make sure they're not getting cheated by them.
So we can adequately report how much we gave to them. Watch how quickly the bail disappears. And I ain't fucking bullshitting. Remedies, again, ladies and gentlemen, not conjectural horse shit. Remedy. So just ask for the W-9 so you can politely give them whatever they're asking for. And they'll call up to the clerk will call the judge. They'll all realize that they're in a conundrum here, because guess who doesn't qualify for 11th Amendment immunity? None of them when it pertains to the IR motherfucking S. Alright? The IRS is your friend. You put the big demon on the little demon, pop a bowl of popcorn, open yourself a little soda pop, sit back and watch the fuck 4th of July. It is fun as shit to watch the IRS rip these people apart. They are more than happy to go into these courthouses, shut the whole shit show down, and grab box after box after box of records. They just fucking love it. So do yourself a favor and ask for the W-9 so you can report the transaction. Alright? Because there's capital gains taxes that need to be paid, and they're not paying them, ladies and gentlemen. They're not paying them. And when they ain't paying them, alright, because under Title 26, 2603, 2602, 2001, 2002, anybody in constructive possession of decedent estate property is liable for the transfer tax on a carryover basis. We're not paying those taxes. They now become tax evaders. Not tax protesters, tax evasion. And let me remind you, that's what Al Capone went to prison for. So don't fuck around. Just ask him for the W-9, alright? But otherwise, this habeas corpus absolutely works. I just want to show you the mechanism that triggers it, okay? Where you get your enforcement at is right here. So with that, I love you guys. You're welcome. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for all your support. And stick with it.
Alrighty. Where the storm clouds are gathering. Alrighty. If you want to hear the whole thing at once without my interruptions, go there. Okay? These will be the people news. Just a reminder, I would still do a W-4 form, right? Especially once they paid your child support, they garnish that shit. Now you're going to go down to the child support agency and you're going to tell them to fill out this W-4 form. Because if they take too much, they do investigation, guess who's going to be refunded to? You. Alright? So, anyway, there's a certain way of doing that, but it would actually scare them on the W-4 also, as well as the W-9. They do not like tax people whatsoever, even though they try to put you in jail for it yourselves. Alright, these will be the people news. Bye, y'all.